I was walking home from my friend's house one night, and it was around 11 o'clock, and I was whistling while walking, and all of a sudden I heard some footsteps behind me. I turned around and I saw this guy. He had no face. There was just a black void where his face should be. I immediately started running, and I could hear him getting closer and closer. I looked over my shoulder again, and he was right behind me. I don't know how fast I was going, but I felt like I was flying. Then, out of nowhere, he vanished. I stopped running and I was like, what the hell? Was I imagining things? Then I heard a voice say, "Sorry, did I scare you?" I turned around and it was just a guy who was walking his dog. I was so relieved. But then I realized something. The dog wasn't on a leash and it didn't look friendly. Then the man said, "Do you want to see a magic trick?" And before I could respond, the dog lunged at me and bit me on the leg. I screamed and kicked the dog, which made the man really mad. He started yelling at me and I started yelling back. It was so scary because I knew that he was going to make the dog attack me again. But then the dog started growling at the man and then it ran away. The man was really angry, but he didn't chase after the dog. Instead, he came up to me and said, "I'm sorry I scared you. Let me take you home." I didn't want to go anywhere with him, but I was scared that the dog might come back and attack me. So I agreed. We walked together in silence until we got to my house. Then he said, "Thanks for letting me walk you home. I hope you have a nice night." And then he left. I never saw him again, but I still have the scar on my leg from where the dog bit me. And sometimes I wonder if it was all just a dream. We've heard this story before, haven't we? Well, actually, yes, because it's not uncommon for people to experience this sort of thing. However, usually it happens when they're alone and walking home late at night. And let's face it, this is not exactly the safest time to be out and about. In fact, according to statistics, most crimes happen during the night. Therefore, you need to be extra cautious if you find yourself wandering around after dark. After all, you don't know who or what you might encounter. In today's video, we'll be sharing a collection of terrifying true stories about what it feels like to walk alone at night. So buckle up and get ready for a spooky ride. It was dark outside, and I was heading home from a late-night shift at work. As I rounded the corner onto Elm Street, I noticed a pair of headlights pointed directly at me. I pulled my coat tighter around me and quickened my pace. The car slowed down as it approached me, but instead of passing me by, it stopped right in front of me. The engine turned off, and the door on the passenger side opened. I froze, unsure of what to do. Should I keep walking? What if I was being followed? My heart pounded in my chest as I considered my options. Just then, a man's voice called out to me from inside the car. He asked me if I wanted a ride, but I politely declined and continued on my way. I quickened my pace and tried to ignore the sound of the car door closing behind me. I kept glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see the car following me. But when I turned the corner onto my street, I saw the car parked innocently on the other side of the road. As I unlocked my front door and stepped inside, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. The encounter had shaken me up, and I couldn't help but wonder why I had been targeted. Had it been a random act of kindness, or something more sinister? Either way, I was glad to be home safe and sound. The adrenaline surged through my veins as I sprinted down the sidewalk. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting long, eerie shadows that danced around me. My breath caught in my throat as I heard the heavy footsteps pounding the pavement behind me. I risked a glance over my shoulder and saw a towering figure silhouetted against the dim light. Panic swelled within me as I realized I was being chased. The stranger was gaining on me with every stride. I could hear his ragged breaths growing louder with each step. I dared not turn back to face him, but I knew he was close. His presence sent a chill down my spine. I glanced over my shoulder again, and our eyes met for a fleeting moment. In that instant, I saw a wild look in his eyes, and a cruel smile spread across his face. I cried out and ran faster, my heart pounding against my ribs. Adrenaline coursing through my veins, I could feel the rough texture of the pavement beneath my feet as I pounded the sidewalk. I risked another glance over my shoulder and saw that the stranger had stopped in his tracks. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived as I heard a loud crash behind me. I didn't dare look back, but I knew I had to escape this nightmare. With newfound determination, I picked up my pace, and soon enough I saw the familiar glow of my apartment building lights in the distance. As I reached the safety of my home, I turned to face my pursuer, but he was nowhere to be seen. Shaking and breathless, I unlocked the door and stumbled inside, forever haunted by the memory of the man with the twisted grin. I found myself strolling along the dimly lit streets of Prague one evening, reveling in the city's beauty. Suddenly, I noticed a man trailing behind me, and I turned to see his face hidden under a hoodie. Concerned, I quickened my pace, but he kept pace with me. When I turned into an alley, he disappeared. Moments later, I heard footsteps behind me and turned to see the same man emerging from the shadows. Startled, I began to run, dodging bins as I searched for an escape. I spotted a gap between two buildings and squeezed through, hoping to find a way out. Unfortunately, it led to a dead end. To my horror, the man was now blocking my path. With a sense of foreboding, I realized there was nowhere left to run. These terrifying tales serve as a reminder that darkness can bring out the worst in people. It's important to stay vigilant and take precautions when walking alone at night. By staying aware of your surroundings and taking steps to protect yourself, you can reduce your risk of becoming a victim of crime. Remember, your safety is in your hands. So how many of these scary stories have you heard before? Do you have any similar experiences of your own? Feel free to share your thoughts with us. We would love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.